Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. I'm going to be giving you my starting 11 prediction for our game against Leicester City in the FA Cup quarter final. So, in goal, I'm going to go with Dean Henderson. Dean Henderson has now had a run of games. Dean Henderson was in goal against AC Milan recently. He made some very good saves. And he made some good claims from crosses. Paul Scholes came out and said that Dean Henderson has now taken the number 1 jersey for De Gea. Dean Henderson kept another clean sheet. He's not conceded in the Premier League this year. He is now reliable enough to become our number 1 because he has got that experience behind him and he endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. And before the start of this season, Dean Henderson signed a 6-year contract with the club. At right back, I'm going to go with Wan-Bissaka. I think he's endured some good games this season where he showed good attacking intent. He's got into very good crossing positions and defensively he's been good. And Wan-Bissaka obviously played against Milan. He did look a bit leggy down Wan-Bissaka, but as the game went on against Milan, he looked very, very good. We got him in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace in the summer of 2019. The 2 centre-halves, I'm going to go with Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire. Lindelof did very, very well against AC Milan. I thought he read the game well. Made a very good interception towards the end of the first half. And kept Zlatan Ibrahimovic at bay in the second half. You know, Lindelof's had some good games as a Man United player, but despite that, I've still got my strong reservations about him. Lindelof's been at the club now quite a few years. We got him in a deal worth £31 million from Benfica. And Harry Maguire, I've got to say I was very, very impressed with him against Milan recently. Defensively, very, very good. Don't forget, in the first leg against Milan, he missed an absolute sitter. It hit the post from a yard out. It's probably the worst miss I've seen in football history. But when Maguire plays well, you know, he can make good interceptions. He shows the ability to play out from the back. He can be effective in the air. He can be good from set pieces. But despite that, he still wasn't worth the £80 million we got him for. He's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment and the second most expensive signing at the club. At left back, I'm going to go with Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's been absolutely immense this season. He's been our player of the season by far. I like the way Luke Shaw's got forward. He's got into good positions. His crossing's been good. He's provided width. He's made good overlapping runs. And defensively, he's been superb. Luke Shaw has had a good career at Man United apart from his injuries. He's been at the club over 6 years. And he still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Alex Telles last summer. Because when we got Telles, I expected Telles to be our first choice left back. But Telles has played nowhere near as much as I expected. You know, in some of the games Telles has been involved in, he's done well. And he can get forward well, but my preference is Luke Shaw over Telles because Luke Shaw gets forward better than Alex Telles does. Now, in the midfield, I'm going to go with Fred and Scott McTominay. Fred obviously played against AC Milan recently. I thought he was actually woeful in the first half of that one, but in the second half, he looked much better. You know, he kept the ball well, got forward more, and aspects of Fred's game have really improved. Fred is not at that level as I want him to be as yet, but hopefully he emulates to that level. Got to say, during Fred's time in Ukraine with Shakhtar Donetsk, he was a world-class player. We got him in a deal worth £52 million. And Scott McTominay, he wasn't brilliant against Milan, but he has had some good games this season. I think McTominay's best game this season was the 6-2 win against Leeds by far, because he scored twice in that game and he also got an assist. McTominay is not at that level as I want him to be as yet. Hopefully he can emulate that level. McTominay is young, he's got a lot of development in him. Just after the first lockdown last year, McTominay signed a 5-year contract with Man United, so he committed his future with the club. Ahead of them two, I'm going to go with Bruno Fernandez. I don't think Bruno Fernandez was great against AC Milan recently. And I think at some point he does need a rest, because we've actually overplayed him. But earlier on this season, Bruno Fernandez denied that he needed a rest, because obviously he wants to help the club win trophies. But in most of his games at Man United, he has been very consistent. But there has been a few games where he has looked off the pace. Fernandez has certainly made a difference in this team. He's our best player and he's the best signing we've made since Sir Alex Ferguson era. Recent narratives said that Bruno Fernandez was refusing to sign a new contract until he has assurances over the club's transfer plans. Says we was willing to double his wages to £200,000 a week. Fernandez's current contract expires in 2025. There is an option to extend for a further 12 months. We initially paid £47 million for him, but the overall cost with add-ons is just over £67 million. But yeah, he has won Player of the Month quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. And don't forget, Fernandez said on his 12-month anniversary that he's planning on spending many years at Man United. Now, on the left-hand side, I'm going to go with Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba, I think, will start this game against Leicester, because obviously he didn't start the game against AC Milan recently, but he come off the bench and scored the goal. I think, Paul Pogba is effective in more of an advanced role. Now, Solskjaer has given us an update on Paul Pogba's future. Solskjaer hopes for a contract extension for Paul Pogba. Solskjaer has revealed that we are in talks over Paul Pogba's long-term future. We have not made a contract offer yet. And Solskjaer's come out and said that Paul Pogba cares about the club. So Solskjaer believes he will sign a new contract. So yeah, I think there's a good chance now Paul Pogba is staying at Manchester United. But I did say anyway, we must not sell him in the summer. Paul Pogba has just come back from a thigh injury. He had an ankle injury earlier on this season. He was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. Mino Raiola, Paul Pogba's agent, he's been desperate to get his client out of the football club. He did say earlier on this season, Mino Raiola, that he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season. And he did make an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. Because obviously Mini Oriola's been criticised a lot and he doesn't have a good relationship with Man United, and he made an announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba. And Solskjaer was furious with Mini Oriola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. But yeah, he has had a long-running transfer saga. You know, he's been relentlessly linked to the move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him, and his former club Juventus have been in for him. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him. He is under contract with the club until June 2022 because earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract. But Solskjaer has actually said, you know, that Paul Pogba has been a big miss because he brings creativity to the team. We lack creativity without him. On the right-hand side, I'm going to go with Daniel James. Solskjaer, I think, has got a lot of trustworthy in Daniel James. You know, Daniel James has played a hell of a lot of games in the last month or so. But at one point, he was out of the team for a while, and there was even rumours of Daniel James leaving the club. We got Daniel James in a deal worth £18 million from Swansea. You can put him on the right and you can put him on the left. It's supposed to be more effective, though, on the left. And he played against Milan recently and put a pretty good performance out. His pace is unbelievable. So him on the right. And up top, I'm going to go with Mason Greenwood. And I've been very, very impressed with Mason Greenwood since he broke into our first team squad. Mason Greenwood made his senior debut in 2019. He's gone on to make 80-odd first-team appearances. Greenwood has been a United player since the age of 7. Earlier on this season, he signed a new 4-year contract with the club. Ollie's been defending him a lot this season. Earlier on this season, didn't really have much of a perception on Greenwood because he was in and out of the team. And at the start of this season, we're giving that number 11 shirt. So yeah, so that's how I think we could line up against Leicester in the FA Cup quarter-final on Sunday. Now, we have got some injuries. Now, Marcus Rashford is a doubt for this game against Leicester. Rashford came off injured against AC Milan. It wasn't so long ago that Marcus Rashford had an ankle injury. He sustained that ankle injury in our 2-0 win against Man City. He sustained quite a few injuries now at Manchester United. Marcus Rashford is a good player, but he can also endure bad games. I said anyway at some point Marcus Rashford needs a rest. You know, sometimes we play Rashford out left, sometimes we play him out on the right, and sometimes we play him centrally. I think Marcus Rashford is more effective out wide on the left-hand side. Edison Cavani and Anthony Martial are a doubt for this game against Leicester. Martial or Edison Cavani didn't travel to Milan. Martial has been out with a hip injury. He sustained that hip injury in the first leg against Milan. And Edison Cavani, he's obviously been out with injury. So yeah, them two are doubts. Eric Bay, I think he's got a knock as well. Solskjaer did confirm not so long ago that Eric Bay has been in talks with Man United regarding a new contract. Eric Bay is a very, very good centre-half. My only element of concern about Bay is injury prone, so in that aspect, he is a liability. Juan Mata, obviously, he's still out with injury, but he doesn't get in our 11 anyway. You know, Phil Jones, he's still out with injury. He's another player that doesn't get in our 11. Jones has been out of injury for over a year. So there you go. Donny van der Beek, he's just come back from injury recently, and obviously De Gea is now back. De Gea was self-isolating, wasn't he, not so long ago? And not so long ago, De Gea was out due to personal reasons. But yeah, we're coming into this game with a lot of confidence because we recently beat AC Milan 1-0. And I think it was a good away performance by Manchester United. You can say we're a bit too passive in our approach in the first half, but the second half was much better. We've got Granada in the Europa League quarter-final. I think the Europa League is now Man United to lose, like I mentioned on my last video. We got to the Europa League semi-finals last season, lost 2-1 to Sevilla. And we won the Europa League back in 2017. We beat Ajax in the final 2-0, and that was under the Jose Mourinho era. We won our last league game against West Ham, beating them 1-0. Weren't the best of games, but still got the win. It was an own goal from Craig Dawson. And reflecting on that win against West Ham, I think that assures us a top 4 finish. And it was back-to-back wins in the Premier League for Man United, because before West Ham we beat Man City 2-0. And I love the way that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer approached that game against Man City, because he showed tactical flexibility and I wasn't expecting it. It was a good performance against City. We ended their 21-match winning run, and as you all know, we are unbeaten in our last 22 Premier League away games. But Leicester will be tough. Leicester have got a very, very good manager in Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers has been Leicester manager for just over 2 years. He's got a contract with Leicester until 2025. I think he extended his contract back in 2019. He's managed quite a few clubs in his managerial career. Before he was at Leicester, he managed Celtic, endured a few years with Celtic. Before he was at Celtic, he was at Liverpool. I think he had one good season with Liverpool. Managed Swansea before, did quite well with them. And he's managed Reading and Watford before. And I think at one point he managed the Chelsea youth. So yeah, Leicester are very consistent under Brendan Rodgers. They've endured the bad periods. Leicester were also very consistent under Claudio Ranieri, because Leicester won the title under Claudio Ranieri. Brendan Rodgers has made quite a few signings since he became Leicester manager. Obviously brought Fofana in, brought Timothy Castagne in, brought Under in. Also brought Dennis Pryor in, brought Youri Tielemans in, brought James Justin in, and brought Perez in. So they're the players Brendan Rodgers has brought in at Leicester. And I think Leicester will be looking to make more signings in this year's summer transfer window. Leicester have got quite a few injuries. So Under's injured. Dennis Pryor's injured. I think James Justin, he's out for the season. James Maddison, he's one of their key players. He's out with injury. Ricardo Pereira, he's also out with injury. Wes Morgan, he's out with injury. Harvey Barnes, he's definitely one of their key players, and he's out with injury. So they are the injuries that Leicester have got, but maybe some of them will be available for this game on Sunday. I do like Jamie Vardy a lot. Very, very good striker. Don't forget Jamie Vardy risen up from non-league football. I like that Ian Atcho as well. I think Did he get Iheanacho from Man City, if I can remember rightly? I like that Wilfred Ndidi. You know, he's been at Leicester for a few years. Leicester have also got Johnny Evans, who's a former Manchester United player, so I'm expecting him to reunite with the club on Sunday. Fuchs, I think they've got him. They've got Marco Brighton. They've got Armati. Peter Schmeichel, their goalkeeper. You know, Leicester have let good players go. Don't forget, they let Harry Maguire go. We got Harry Maguire off Leicester back in the summer of 2019. So Harry Maguire will be reuniting with his former club on Sunday. But Leicester got £80 million for him. They also let Ben Chilwell go. He joined Chelsea last year.
I've ordered some pizza and fries from, you know that place Luke got it from on Sunday? Pizza pie. It won't be here for about an hour, he says. Do you want a Bruno? Make him one.
I've got one.
Alright, okay.
As I was saying, yeah, they let Ben Chilwell go to Chelsea. They lost N'Golo Kante and Danny Drinkwater. Chelsea got them a few years ago. So Chelsea done good business with Leicester in recent years. They also lost Riyad Mahrez as well. He went to Man City back in 2018. We drew with Leicester earlier on this season 2-2 at the King Power Stadium. We did the double over them last season. We're beating them 2-0 at the King Power Stadium on the final game of last season. And we're beating them 1-0 at Old Trafford. You know, we've got actually a very good record against Leicester. But the FA Cup is definitely a priority for Man United because it is a chance of us getting some silverware on the board. And we're the second most successful team in FA Cup history because we've won 12 FA Cups. We progressed to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup by beating Watford in the third round. We beat Liverpool in the fourth round and we beat West Ham in the fifth round. And Leicester obviously knocked Brighton out of the fifth round 1-0. After Leicester, it is the international break. And then after the international break, we've got Brighton and then it's Tottenham. Man United are planning a long-term future under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Solskjaer has agreed to sign a new contract with Man United worth £9 million a year. So he's been given a pay rise. Sources at Old Trafford did say that talks are set to begin any time on the new deal because later on this month, Ole enters the final year of his 3-year contract. Said earlier on this season that Solskjaer's future was in doubt because he admitted that nobody had spoke to him over a new contract. But I think he does deserve a new contract reflecting on the progress he's made. But I don't think he's a long-term manager for Man United, but I hope I'm proven wrong. Solskjaer needs to win a trophy as Manchester United manager. So that obviously marks more progress. So I'm basically saying the exact same thing as what Gary Neville recently said. Solskjaer's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager and he's been Man United manager over 2 years. And we haven't won a trophy since 2017. But I've got to turn around and say that Solskjaer is our best manager since Ferguson, because we have enjoyed good periods under Ollie, you know, where we have seen consistency and where he has got the best out of the team and he's improved certain players. Yes, I do have my concerns about Solskjaer, but I've got to credit him in quite a few aspects. You know, we're second in the Premier League. At one point, he got us top of the Premier League. That's when we was in the title race. But there was a period where we dropped so many points. So that's why we're no longer in the title race now. And Solskjaer did say quite a few times earlier on this season that we was in the title race. You know, we're in the FA Cup quarter-finals. We're in the Europa League quarter-finals. You know, he got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost to City 2-0. We've got a fantastic away record in the Premier League. He did well last season in his first full season at the club. You know, he got us to 3 semi-finals, got us a 3rd place finish, got us qualification for the Champions League, went on 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions last season, we was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. Solskjaer did very, very well when he first came in as the interim manager. He won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions, and he was the interim manager for 3 months. So, reflecting how well he did as the interim manager, the club decided to give him the job 2 years ago. I've heard a lot of United fans saying we did give him the job too soon. Maybe we should have waited until the end of that season to decide on whether to give him the job. And Ollie has made some good signings, he really has. You know, he's spent almost £300 million at the club so far, and he's enjoyed 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. But as yet, he hasn't got all the players he wanted to recommend in. And obviously he's got rid of a lot of players since he got recommended in. And I like the way Solskjaer has promoted the youth. And he's given more or less everybody their chances. Solskjaer did say when he taken over as Man United manager that everybody will get their chances to express themselves, including the young players. We have enjoyed bad periods under Ollie, very bad periods where he could turn around and say, yeah, he was lucky not to be sacked. I think what saved Solskjaer is him being a club legend, basically. Because disregarding him being a club legend, our board would be a hell of a lot more ruthless than him. But with him being a club legend, our board have a soft stance on him. But even if we had sacked him during them really bad periods, it wouldn't have really solved anything anyway, because when, you know, we have been inconsistent, not all of the blame has stemmed from Solskjaer, but obviously he's got to take some responsibility. Solskjaer just needs to improve his decision making. You know, he's got to show tactical flexibility persistently. You know, it's no good showing it sometimes. You know, he's got to show it a lot. But reflecting how long Solskjaer's been at the club, he has gained some managerial experience and he has learnt quite a bit on the job. But it's this year's summer transfer window that's the biggest in Solskjaer's managerial career. Solskjaer's had the transfer summit with Darren Fletcher and John Murtough. You know, he's basically been discussing our transfer targets and our transfer plans for the summer in general. And I'm expecting Solskjaer to get the backing he deserves in the summer. Because obviously we've got John Murtough in as our new director of football, and John Murtough knows the club inside out because he's been at Man United for like 7 or 8 years, and you've got Darren Fletcher, that's a technical director. And Darren Fletcher knows the club through thick and thin. But Solskjaer's set to have his final say on our transfer incoming deals. Woodward did a statement not so long ago, and he says the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing Solskjaer. But Woodward's come out several times to show his support for Ole, you know, even enjoying them really bad periods. Our transfer budget's been revealed for the summer. It's £80 million. A lot of United fans are shocked in that aspect because we know £80 million is not enough for us to get the players that we want to recommend in. So Solskjaer's planning to sell at least 4 players in the summer to bolster our transfer budget, and he's hoping to raise an extra £60 million. We've identified 5 key transfer targets for the summer. You know, we're looking to get a striker in, we're looking to get a holding midfielder in, we're looking to get a centre-half in, we're looking to get a right-back in to provide competition for Bissaka. And it says, you know, we've actually been looking at a goalkeeper. But yeah, we are going to sell quite a few players in the summer. So anyway guys, that's everything to update with today. On my next video, I'll be giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel, like I say. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very soon.